When's the last time you made an excuse? I know that I probably have pretty recently, and it's really a common thing when it comes to fitness, exercise, eating right. We make a lot of excuses, and sometimes we don't even realize we're making them. So, how do we avoid making them? How do we understand why we're making them? I'm diving into all that and how to overcome them. So strap in, get ready for episode 217. Let's go.
The future of fitness.
How do you gain muscle mass?
Fitness is not complicated. It's simple when you break it down.
There's so much information out there.
No fads, no diets, just plain simple habits.
You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast.
Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody. I will be your host today, and if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. I am so glad to have you here. If this is your first time listening, I try to just break down fitness into simple tips that will help you in the long run. And nothing complicated, nothing fancy here, just simple, applicable steps. And for my return listeners, thank you for coming back. It means the world to me that you continue to tune in to this podcast. All right, if you have not grabbed your free meal plan, I don't know what you're waiting for. I'll link it in the show notes, but it's bonestobulk.com/free meal plan. Couldn't be any easier, right? bonestobulk.com/free meal plan. You'll put in your email address and it will be delivered right to your email box. It's a PDF. You can download it and do whatever you want with it. It's great. All right, with that being said, let's dive in. So excuses, they get us in a lot of trouble sometimes. We wake up on Monday morning and we say, I slept terrible last night. I went to bed too late. I'll work out tomorrow. Then what happens Monday night? Your kids are up half the night and you are really tired. And so Tuesday morning comes and you're like, you know what? I had a rough night. I'll start tomorrow. Then Wednesday comes and you're like, today would be leg day anyway. I can skip leg day. Then Thursday comes and something else happened in work and you get the idea. Like there's always life happening. It's never convenient to work out. It never is. Never. Time is something I feel gets, I would say, more precious. I mean, time is always precious, but I feel like right now, so many of us are so busy. And I don't know whether that's really a good thing or a bad thing. I know for me, I am extremely busy and I probably need to slow down and better manage, some of the things I place a priority on. So that is definitely worth taking a look at, is your schedule and what things are really important and what things are benefiting you in the long run. But I'm not really going to dive too much into that in today's episode. I really just want to focus on the excuses we tell ourselves. And often the excuses can come from really good places. And what I mean by that is, have you ever either yourself or heard someone say, I'm struggling with an injury, so I'm just taking it easy right now? Well, that seems valid, right? Well, okay, what is the injury? Maybe your ankle's injured and you need to be careful with what you do with it, but there's still a lot of other exercises you could be doing. You could be hitting upper body like crazy. You could be doing mobility exercises to help that ankle in rehab and get better. So, well-intentioned excuses are still just that. And I think it's important to ask ourselves where we're coming from when we come up with an excuse. And excuses are so subtle. They're so subtle. They're sneaky. Like we trick our brains into thinking, this isn't an excuse. This is a real reason. When really it's still an excuse. You know what I'm talking about. I know we've all done it. I know I've done it. Like it happens. We think, it's been a rough week. Work has sucked and my kids have been driving me crazy and I can't handle this quarantine anymore and whatever it is. And you're like, I deserve a cheat meal. I deserve to just, let myself go this weekend. I deserve. And how often does that I deserve get brought up? What do we deserve? Now, I am not saying that you cannot enjoy a cheat meal and just kind of let go sometimes. I'm not saying that at all because God knows that I do it. But what I'm saying is we have to recognize when it's becoming a habit and when it's a one-off thing. Because there's a big difference. If I have kind of a binge night, one night a week or every other week, or what I'm saying, like a very small window, that's one thing. But if it's turning into a whole weekend and it's becoming a regular habit where just the entire weekend I go off the rails, well, guess what? I'm probably going to go backwards on my goals because you can do a lot of damage in an entire weekend. You can undo the 5 days prior to that. You can undo all that work. Just in a weekend, you absolutely can. So you've got to be careful where you draw the line between, okay, I'm going to, be okay with having this, and I'm really just using, having a rough day as an excuse to go way overboard. I think it's also really important to recognize, when our excuses pop up, is there external factors that are causing them? And what I mean by that is when things are going rough in your personal life, when maybe, you're having a hard time with your job or a relationship, or like I said, I know kids are home in a lot of areas now because of quarantine, and I understand that can be very frustrating at times, trying to deal with them and get your own stuff done. And so when there's a lot of external factors going on, it greatly impacts the physical. I know it does for me, and I know it does for a lot of other people that I talk to where, when you're struggling mentally, you're going to struggle physically because they go hand in hand. The power is in the mind. I truly believe that. Like, yes, there are physical limitations, absolutely. However, usually when we can get over that mindset of a limitation, our bodies will go far more than we think they are. Usually when we think we're done, we're only a fraction of the percentage done. It's our minds telling us we're done. So my point in that is we've got to realize that, hey, there's shit going on in my life, things coming at me that I can't control, but it shouldn't dominate me into not doing the things I need to do. Am I making sense? I hope I'm being clear on this. Like I said, there's a fine line between going too hard on yourself and recognizing that there are seasons in life. And I know for me, there are seasons when I go way harder in the gym than other seasons. And I'm not saying that because it's okay to your intensity to change, but you want to still stay consistent. I may go through a season where I just push myself to the limit every day in the gym, and then I go into a stage where I'm just kind of in that maintenance mode. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. What I'm saying is, though, that consistency is still there. And that's what's so important is, recognizing that, hey, you know what, maybe I am off my game a little bit. Maybe I am having one too many cheat meals a week. But how can I bring back some consistency? How can I still recognize that, life does suck a little bit right now, but I'm still going to push through? And I think that's the place we have to come to in our own mind is, what are we willing to put ourselves through to reach that ultimate goal? And if, you just can't do it right now, you can't do it mentally or physically, I get it. And that's okay. Just try to at least maintain until you are ready to push harder and make some steps forward again. But at least try not to make the steps backwards, because then they're hard to recover. Not saying it's impossible by any means. It's just a little bit harder. So if you're in that stage where you're struggling, where there are a lot of external factors going on and things just are not ideal, and maybe you're working out from home, I get it, but at least try to stay consistent with what you can. It may not be, again, an ideal workout. It may not be an ideal meal plan or food plan, but I'm telling you, even a 50% effort is better than no effort. And it may take a lot longer to get to your goal at 50% effort than it would at 90% effort. But guess what? You're still moving forward at that 50%. So don't beat yourself up too much, but also really recognize what's going on. And am I making too many excuses? Am I holding myself back too much? And am I just kind of, wallowing in this place of guilt or self-loathing or whatever it is? And that's another thing that can come up is when we do, struggle to hit our goals, and when we do feel like we're in that place of I'm only giving 50%, a lot of guilt can come in. And it shouldn't. We should never guilt ourselves because we're not doing X or Y or Z. We can recognize that, hey, you know what? I'm not performing the way I probably am capable of, but that's okay for this season. But I know this is for a season, and I'm still going to stay consistent with what I can, and then I'm going to push myself even harder. I think the key is you just can't let yourself go in every area. You've got to maintain at least some sense of consistency. That's what I'm trying to drive home here. Even if things look different, even if you have to pull back the reins a little bit, that's fine, but still do what you can. All right, I hope this helps if you're struggling, and I get it. Like, it's not the easiest of times just with everything going on in the world right now. There's a lot of tension, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of unknowns out there. And so just stay strong, do the things that you can do, that you have control over, because there's a lot of things we cannot control in this world and in this life. And it's always going to be that way. But we can control a lot of things. And so focus on those and stay the course. If you're on any social media platform, please check me out. We have a great Facebook group. It's just a community of like-minded people who are all going towards the same goal and are on all stages of the journey. TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. Like, I'm telling you, I'm out there at Bones to Bulk everywhere. Follow me, hit me up. I would love to hear from you. With that being said, remember, no matter what struggles you're facing, what pitfalls you feel like you're in right now, things will get better. Stay consistent. You've got this.